girl dinner.
A
Girl dinner where they just like gather whatever they can find. So the girl dinner it was like a TikTok trend. It'll be like a celery, a bag of popcorn, an apple, a chocolate bar, a glass of wine, like just whatever you could find. And that's what I did for breakfast.
That sounds very
Unhealthy?
I was gonna say health irresponsible, but sure. That's a much more concise way of putting it. Welcome to the Going Mach podcast. I'm your host, Rashad Kenneth Thompson. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you've been here before, welcome back. And if you haven't, welcome. Today we are in the $16 million studio. And sitting across from me is a yogi.
Sure.
A healer.
There we go.
A Reiki specialist?
A Reiki master, actually, officially.
A Reiki master, okay.
Yes.
And subsequently, the second most beautiful person that I know.
Oh.
Kenisha.
I know who number one is. It's got to be like Gal Gadot or something.
No.
Beyonce.
No, you don't know who number one is. Well, maybe you do. Who do you think number one is?
My mom.
Well, I don't know your mom.
We were just supposed to run with it.
Okay. It's me. Whenever I say the second most handsome person or the second most beautiful person, I'm always talking about other than myself.
I don't think my mom would like to hear that.
No.
Yeah.
No, just make sure she doesn't. Nobody watches this anyway. So
okay.
Kenisha, how are you?
I'm good. How about yourself?
I'm great. And I need to ask you, why do you love seeing children get hurt?
That's the first question.
Yeah.
So let's be clear. So children getting hurt is funny, but children being scared is not. But children being like injured.
Let's back up for a second. You're not on trial. I'm right here.
People are going to come for me with pitchforks. Where's the is there a camera I could look in?
You can look at any of them. Yeah, people are going to come at you pitchforks, but I think people who would hear that and immediately just get to typing on their keyboards without full context.
True.
Those aren't the people that, those are not your people.
True. That's going to be our first soundbite. Why do you like to see children get hurt? Well,
I'll say it myself. I love seeing children get hurt. It's the funniest thing in the world. I don't want to see children get injured.
Yeah, like really hurt.
Legitimately. Like I saw a video the other day of a kid. I did not send it to you. I did not share it with you.
You knew I would have cried probably.
I don't know about your emotional reaction to it.
Yeah.
You would not have enjoyed it.
Okay.
Because I watched it. If I can watch it and feel secondhand pain from it, then I'm like, oh, I don't like this. No, I love those videos of kids getting hurt. Is my favorite Instagram page.
There's an Instagram page called Kids Getting Hurt?
Yes.
Wow.
Kids Getting Hurt is my favorite one. I enjoy watching children, especially when they don't listen to their parents.
There we go.
Get instant karma.
There we go.
And then them be okay afterwards.
Yeah.
I love the sound effects of a child like knocking their head into something.
Mm-hmm.
I like seeing, because they're just like little drunk people. So I like how they have no coordination, no nothing, and they just flail around, and I just love it. I like watching children in pain. What I don't like is when they're actually legitimately hurt.
Yeah.
Like I said, I saw this video the other day, and I didn't even like save it or anything. I was like, oh, I don't like this. This isn't cool. So now that you know you're not on trial, and you know I'm right here with you, okay?
My favorite video, I think you've seen it, because they put like so many different memes with it. So like there's this father having a little tea party with the daughter in the yard,
Mm-hmm.
and the other jealous child comes and just runs her over with the Jeep. Yeah, stuff like that.
Stuff like that is, when you think about it in practical application, especially us being adults, the idea of driving over another human being is terrible.
Yeah.
But
we know that's a light car. It doesn't weigh that much. Oh no.
I'm not saying that car is light. I will say that that car has a battery in the back of it or in the front. So that's enough weight.
Don't mess this up for me.
For it to be
still a really funny video. Let's stop there.
Like, no, it's okay. I think when you know the context and you still laugh, I've caught myself laughing at something that's overtly offensive because I wasn't expecting it.
Yeah, no, I feel you on that.
And then what happens is people who are looking to me to be the mature one see me laugh at it and they're like, oh, you found that funny. Yes, I did. Because I like stupid shit.
Those people must not know you so well. I would expect you to laugh at that.
I feel like you liking children getting hurt has to stop.
Oh
It,
God.
it has to, no, we haven't forgotten. It has to start from some type of have you ever seen the show Dexter?
Dexter's Laboratory?
No.
Oh, the other one. Too
Mhm.
squeamish.
Okay. I feel like you slick might be Dexter. And I think your
No,
victims
no, 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 no,
I
no,
think your
no, no,
victors
no,
are
no,
like your
no, no,
victims are
no,
like
no, because he kills people.
he does.
Yeah, come on now.
But he kills bad people. But I feel like your victims wouldn't be like just bad people. I think you would kill bad children. Yes.
Okay, wait a second. Where's the camera? How
Yes.
do we go from children getting hurt to me killing them? Okay. We'll never kill a child.
That's good.
Okay.
That's a positive.
Okay. Although women's rights.
Is it a child?
Never kill a child.
Is it a child? Is there a heartbeat?
But I will not be Dexter. But maybe it's because I was a very, very clumsy kid. And I didn't get to see it. I just got to witness and experience it.
Mhm.
Now that I get to see it, it's funny. Like, what is wrong with your equilibrium? Like, I don't get it. Like, stand up and walk
I
properly.
love it because I do the same thing. I will equate, hey man up to a child. Like it's a 6-year-old.
Walk it
I was
off.
like, yo, like walk straight. What's wrong with you? I talk to my nephews like that. At least I used to. It sounds so weird to say this. They're a little bit older now. They're 7.
Oh, wow.
So I talk to them a little differently. I'm not as normal Uncle Rashad, direct and just talking to them like they're human. Excuse me, they are humans, but they're adults.
So he said children are not human. See, so that's probably why he likes to watch them get hurt.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. That's why I like to watch them get hurt. Children getting hurt is funny to me. It just is. There's a running joke in my group chat. It's about breaking me and making me laugh with a video, and no one can do it because my taste is very, very specific.
Yeah.
If you send me a child getting hurt, I'll look at the video and be like, And they'll be like, but it's a child getting hurt. Yeah, but I don't like that. That's not funny. If you send me like they'll send me a video of, I don't know, like a prank, and I never find pranks funny.
Yeah.
Pranks are not funny to me, especially with strangers.
Mm-hmm.
That's not funny.
Yeah.
Like when someone's at their job trying to do their job and you go mess with them.
He's being a bully.
And it depends on what kind of job they have. If a person's a security guard and you're just being obnoxious on purpose, that's lame. I think the idea of pranking people for content and they don't know what's going on, and there's a difference between something being really funny and something being very mean-spirited. But okay, so you like watching. When did this start? When did this pastime start?
I'm going to be honest. I can't give you a real answer because I was ashamed of it until you came around. And then we were able to share these things together. And so I would say maybe a couple months now that I've finally taken some real joy in it because I had no one to share it with. I can't tell you how long though.
You were ashamed of it. Why? You never try to share with anybody else?
No, because a lot of my friends have children, so they don't find it funny.
It's still funny.
Tell me about it. But they don't find it funny.
Well, I don't have children, but it's still like, look, I don't want to say I've never believed in it, but I don't believe in coddling children.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's to an extent you coddle a child.
Yeah.
Yes. Am I a participation trophy kind of guy? Yes and no. I believe to an extent you can give kids participation trophies, but you have to instill a level of, hey, we're all getting participation trophies, but the people who actually succeeded, the kids who actually did something major, their trophy isn't the same as your participation trophy.
Exactly. It's got to be bigger.
Their trophy is bigger. It is heavier. It is much better than yours. So I understand the idea of giving a kid a participation trophy, but making sure they understand, hey, you just got this because you showed up. Like, it's not if everyone got the big trophy, one is not good for the child who just participated. But 2, it's also bad for the child that got first place.
Exactly.
Like, who really worked hard, assuming that that's what we're talking about, who really worked hard and excelled in something. We all got the same trophy. What was the point of me putting in the work? So yeah, like I said, I do understand participation trophies if they are employed in the right way. And we don't really exist in a space where that's employed in the right way anymore. People just show up and get uh, recognized for just showing up and not doing a particularly remarkable job. Um, so you're not a participation trophy person.
So I was going to say 100% no, but then as you were talking more, I was like, you know what? I think I could see some value in it if they're smaller or just like an acknowledgement, because it is important for people to show up. Like,
Sure.
so if you do feel like, okay, it is a good thing that I'm showing up, then yeah. But if it's literally like, other than that, like, no, like I really don't. If this person came 15th place, like, they do not need to cross the ribbon as well and get celebrated and get a prize. Like,
No,
can you go
no.
faster? Like, do better next
I
time.
absolutely agree. I do think
Sorry
that
for yelling.
no, I think there does have to be a uh, an understanding of, hey, you weren't good enough today.
Yeah.
Like you weren't. You just weren't good enough today, and that's just the nature of the beast. But when you're talking about children, it's almost like I can't remember where I heard this analogy for the first time, but it's almost like a game.
Yeah,
If you're playing a game, if the game is too easy, you don't want to play the game anymore.
exactly.
If the game is too hard, you don't want to play the game anymore. There has to be this certain level of challenge where, okay, you succeeded, you did have to put in some effort, and it'll cause you to strive for more and more and more. I think with children, in my opinion, there has to be a way of building their confidence slowly, but making sure that they can ease into whatever they're doing so that when they become adults, they understand, okay, nothing's going to be given to me. And just showing up is not enough, but it is the first step. And I think off camera, we were talking about this idea of do the thing.
Yeah.
Just whatever the thing is, just do the thing. Oh, I want to have a podcast. I don't have all my stuff. I do get that to an extent. You do want to get like, you want to do the thing, you want to do it your way, but set a baseline for, okay, just do it. It might not be my best foot, but I'm trying to figure this out. And you'll either do one of two things. You'll realize that you hate it and it's not for you, or you love it and you suck at it and you'll recalibrate and come back better. But yeah, with my nephews, I have to be very mindful of how I talk to them, especially Nathan, because he's very sensitive. So they've come over here before, and the setup was just like this, and they think they're going to do a podcast. So when Alex and Nathan come over here, and let me be very clear, Nathan, Lee, and Alexander Rashad, when they come over here, they think that when they sit down in these chairs, it's being broadcast live. They think it's going all over the world right then and
That
there.
is cute though.
So they just get like, they're nervous, but they're so good with their dynamic with one another because they're twins.
Okay.
So like, but they'll get really nervous, like, oh, I don't want to, I want to do a good job, whatever. And I could broadcast live with that thing over there. Like I could hit a button and it'll broadcast on Facebook Live.
Okay.
I could really broadcast on a few different platforms live, but that's just not what I'm doing at the current moment. But yes, so it's not because you hate children and you want a genocide. It's because you just, or is it?
No.
Okay.
But I'm sure you noticed as you were talking, there was like a little evil smirk that came across my face. I love children. They're beautiful. They're the future. But I will admit, depending on whose child it is, I can bully. And you just reminded me of a story where my cousin's 7-year-old taught me, my age does not matter, taught me how to play chess last year. And around maybe an hour in, I figured out how to play chess. And I won one of the games and I said, checkmate. And I shouldn't have done this.
How old is this child?
She was 7, 8.
Nice. Okay.
I screamed to the world that I won. I'm like, checkmate, yeah. Get my phone out. She's crying. I'm like, who won? I beat your ass. Yeah. I only played this game for one day. She's crying. She's crying her eyes out.
And you're still going.
I'm still going. But she beat me like 10 times. And I beat her once. So I had to celebrate. Now, why is it that when I celebrate, you got to cry? Mind you, she didn't bully me when she won. But it's like,
Man
walk it
up.
off. Walk it
Man
off.
up. Yeah,
like, toughen up.
Kids are stupid. You know.
Well, that one's a genius. She taught me chess, but
Well, that was her own fault. That was Dr. Frankenstein, your Frankenstein's monster. She put the batteries in your back,
she shouldn't have taught me correctly.
and then you use it against her. It's
Yeah.
her fault, really.
It really is.
It's her fault. She's
She
got to
should have
learn.
known.
I think at that point, the lesson she should have learned should have been taught by you. Like, you should have like kind of incapacitated her to the point where she could have like healed up over time, like almost like how Bane broke Batman's back. Like, it took him like 6 months. A lot of people don't know that because the timeline is not really said in the movie, but if you read the book, it took him like 6 months to heal from a broken back, which medically he should not have been able to by just some guy hitting him in the back again.
Nerd.
But no, it took him 6 months. That's what you should have done to her, because I think that would have been a good lesson when she was in rehab and she was going through her PT. I think it would have been great for her to have to learn how to walk again and just think about like the lesson she learned from, creating the monster that she did.
What made it worse is she wanted a rematch. And I was like, nah, we're good.
You're shitty. That's very shitty.
No, thank you.
We both know a person that taught me how to play Tonk for the first time.
Don't even know what that is.
Yeah, it's a card game. And this person taught me how to play Tonk. I didn't know the rules at all. The kids had always played Tonk, forever. And I just never participated. One, because I was never chosen to participate. And two, because I didn't know the rules. So this person taught me Tonk, and we played one game. I'm like, okay, so here are the rules. And then I proceeded to beat this person several times. And they have no one to blame but themselves.
Yeah. Especially teaching you.
Once I get it,
yeah,
it's like, oh, okay, now I can develop strategy. It's not just about rules anymore. I can develop strategy. But that was their choice to teach me how to play Tonk. But based on your logic, you don't believe that that was their free will.
Oh God, here we go.
You don't believe their free will. Explain to me.
Okay,
your opinion of free will. Just so you know, this is a safe space.
Okay.
And I'm not going to chastise you.
Okay.
We spoke about how people come at you crazy for
not believing in free will anymore. Maybe I'm bitter.
Having this take.
Maybe I'm bitter because maybe just because I feel like I don't have free will doesn't mean there's no such thing as free will. But I think free will is fake. I think it's a lie. I think it's something that is like, what's the word? Like fed to us as a way to feel like we have some kind of freedom. Here's why I feel this way. Say, for example, let's just like bring religion up for a second.
Sure.
Say, for example, you go to church, you're growing up in church, and they say, if you do not believe in God, you're going to go to hell.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So you might want to believe in God and follow these rules to go to heaven. So it's like, sure, they're saying you have the free will to not believe in it. But then if you take this free will, the consequences are dire. You know what I'm saying?
I do get what you're saying.
So I guess so someone did tell me like, maybe you're just saying like, there is free will, but there's a lot of consequences. But I'm like, if there's consequences for making a free will decision, is it really free will?
So your disdain for free will is rooted through the lens of religion?
No, that's just my easiest example. So I can bring me into an example. I don't like to be on camera.
Nice.
And here we are on camera, right?
Nice.
Let's see. Should I talk about this or something else? Okay. I don't care. I'll talk about this. I am someone who is, I would call myself a demisexual.
Okay.
So I need like this deep emotional attachment with people before I could even find them to be in this type of light, before I could even allow myself to be with someone in any other type of way.
Sure. So,
and I feel like I was just kind of born that way because I try to be anything other than that and I can't. So I remember in 2021, I got my heart broken. So in 2022, I said, I want to have a hoe phase. I want to have a hoe phase and I want to, not really a hoe phase, but like learn how to be casual, learn how to date casual, right? And I've noticed that I had friends and people around me that are able to date casually and it's beautiful and it helps them grow and they enjoy it, right? The moment I stepped in there, I think I cried more than I've ever cried in my entire life. So it's like, my path is to go this way, but I have free will to go this way, right? But
Mm-hmm.
the moment I decide to go to the right or to the left to do something else, it's like the universe is punching me, knocking me out, uppercut, get your ass back over there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, but I thought I had free will. And it's like, sure, do that if you want to suffer, or you can do this. So it's like, you can do that, but you're meant to do this, but you have free will to do that. But it's going to hurt a lot.
Well, based on the way you're explaining it, you do have free will. You
Yeah.
have the choice. It's not an illusion.
It is an illusion, because if it was
No.
real, why is there so much consequence to making a free will decision?
Free will, in my opinion, it's not. This might not even be opinion. This might be like dictionary definition. But free will is rooted in you can make the choices you want to make. Now, it's almost like how it's very similar to freedom of speech.
Yeah.
Freedom of speech is not freedom of consequences.
Yeah, you're right. Maybe.
A lot of people love to say, I called a guy a nigger on a plane and it was caught on camera. I got fired from my job. Whatever happened to free speech? It doesn't protect you from private enterprise. It's not the same thing. You can have free will. I'm not sexually attracted to men at all. But if I wanted to go have sex with a man, technically I could. Now, a man wouldn't turn me on physically, so maybe that's a terrible analogy. But if I wanted to go downstairs, and I love my neighbor Seven. Seven's going to do the podcast. I love Seven. Seven, I would never do this. This is hypothetical. But if I were to go downstairs and punch Seven in the face, like if I were to just knock on his door, if I were to knock on Seven's door and punch him in his shit, I would never do that because I love him. But I have free will. I could do that. And then Seven, being the person that he is, would either shiv me up something crazy, or he would call the police, or both. Those are the consequences of my free will. In my free will, this is Atlanta. I can go out and just I'm a heterosexual black male in Atlanta that makes money. I can go out and be a massive whore if I wanted to be. That's my free will. But innately, that's not who I am as a person. That wouldn't fulfill me. It wouldn't make me happy, and I would suffer. So I can make my choices. You have the free will to make your choices. Like you can do those things.
I still don't believe it. I feel like it's a lie. I feel like it's like a little bait that gets dangled, and it's like, you want to take this? You want to take this? It's gonna hurt. How is it free if there's so much consequence to it? But then you got me with the free speech. You got me. So maybe I'm just bitter that my free will just like has so many fucking consequences.
Well, I have to say, like, respectfully, I do not think you're by yourself. I think there are a lot of people who have this desire to, I think a lot of us, especially when you're growing into the person you're going to be for the rest of your life. And you're 21, so you don't know anything about any of this, but when you
19, but whatever.
When you go from, I explained it to a young lady who kind of she didn't work with me, but I had to see her when I went to work, and she was very young. And I say very young, I mean like she was 17. She was about to go to college, and we saw each other pretty much regularly. And I remember being like, "Oh, you're going to college now?" She said, "Yeah, I started tech, next semester." I'm like, "Your parents must be really proud." Like, let's just say from a cultural standpoint, nothing less but Georgia Tech for her parents and where they moved here from. So I remember telling her, I said, "Can I give you some advice?" She said, "Yes, like please." She called me Mr. Rashad. That's how I knew how old I was.
Ugh, I can't stand that.
Because she is old enough to be my daughter. I am old enough to be her father. That is very true.
Yeah, you are pretty old.
Yeah, I am. 72. Does not look like it. But what I said was, look, you're young. And I said, and you're going to go through the journey of being a young woman. That's not a journey that I've been through. But you're going to make a lot of mistakes. And you're going to find who you are as a person. And the only way you can find this is through experiences and through choices. And there are going to be plenty of times where you're going to make choices that don't align with who you think you are. And for whatever reason, you're going to do that because your frontal lobe isn't fully developed. And occasionally, you're going to find that, oh, I am the choice that I just made. I thought that I wasn't. That's the whole point of free will. The whole point of it is to do what you want to do and go on your journey on your own. I know that for myself personally. Do I have free will?
No.
Yeah. I have it. Now you might not.
I don't.
I have it. There are plenty of things that innately maybe I want to do and that I could choose to do, but I elect not to exercise my free will that I do have because I know those are not the things that will fulfill me emotionally or mentally or physically. But so you still don't think you have free will?
So
I'm not trying to change
no,
your
no, no,
mind.
no, 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 because you can change my mind. I'm not like a stubborn. Well, I'm a Taurus. I'm stubborn, but I'm not that stubborn. I can change my mind. I don't let cognitive dissonance block me from things.
Good use of that, by the way.
But well, thank you.
No problem.
Pascal's wager, I think it's what it's called. When I went to school for, and I was in ethics class. No, it wasn't ethics. It was philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
Pascal's wager. Back to religion, where it says, so you can believe in God, not know it exists, right? You can believe in God, not know that God exists.
Mm-hmm.
Do everything you're supposed to do and go to heaven. You can believe in God, do everything you're supposed to do, die and realize there is no heaven. You cannot believe in God, do everything you want to do and realize there is heaven, and then you end up going to hell. You can do whatever the hell you want to do, not believe in God, and then die and realize there is no hell or heaven, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so there's all these options. But they said, but you might as well just believe in God and do what you're supposed to do and go to heaven just in case there is a heaven. That's how the Pascal's wager ended. So it was still like, but you should probably still do number one, do all the, and I'm like, so I don't know. It's still just like they're saying you have this free will, but so, but here's, you know what? Here's what I'm realizing. I think I want to be a witch. And in order for me to be a witch, I need to believe that free will is fake. Because what's stopping me from doing spells and getting all this money and like having a celebrity fall in love with me is that whole lie about free will. And if there is no such thing as free will, I can do a love spell to get my favorite celebrity to fall for me. I need there to not be free will. There is not free will.
Okay. You went straight to.
I took it somewhere.
Well, you sound like a certain cult that's voting for a certain guy.
I don't know about any cults right now, but
you don't want to you can't believe in free will because it would go against the narrative that you're trying to push.
Yes.
Just like there are people who will vote for a certain person because they can't believe in facts because it goes against the narrative that they're trying to push.
Yeah.
I as far as like free will being a lie, I will say from the religious standpoint, I told a former coworker of mine, because she was, Christian. I don't subscribe to that way of thinking anymore. She asked me, just kind of in passing, which if you really think about it, this is a very inappropriate thing to ask a coworker. But she asked me, see, we're in the South and we're Black, so a lot of people don't really realize how personal of a question that is. There are three things I don't talk about. I don't talk about my religion, I don't talk about politics, and I don't talk about my money.
Mm-hmm.
But depending on who I'm talking to, maybe I'll divulge any of these things. She said, "Are you a Christian?" And I said, No. And she said, "Why not?" And I said, "I just don't subscribe to the idea that you have to be scared into acting right. I just don't believe it.
Yeah.
I don't believe that's innately in my heart." And I had a conversation with my barber a few years ago where I told him, he basically said the same thing you said, like as far as Pascal's wager. He was like, "Well, I believe because, just in case I'll go to heaven." And I said, "But if I believe for that reason, it's not pure, it's not authentic, It's not real, it's not in my heart. It's not even me really believing. It's me saying I believe."
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I feel like the whole thing is just very, but being honest, just the whole idea of religion in general, I think if it works for you, great. If it works for people, if it makes you better to your fellow man, I think that's fantastic. I think in a lot of cases, a lot of them, it's a bunch of hokey nonsense that I think a lot of people, men in general, have just used it to manipulate other people and get them to do their bidding.
Yeah.
And what I'm saying is not my opinion. That's factually, historically accurate that's happened. But I think religion in and of itself is good. It's the followers so much that I have the issue with. But I want to pivot to you.
Being a witch or?
Well, no.
Because I'm not, but.
Not yet. We're working on it. apparently, one might say, I love your nails.
Oh, thank you.
One might say that you um, are living with ADHD.
Many
I
might say that.
I would like to say that ADHD is living with you. What do you think of that, Kenisha?
I don't know. I think you need to explain that.
You ever heard the phrase, I'm not locked in here with you, you're locked in here with me?
I have not. Today's the first, but I like it.
That's exactly what it means. It's when someone thinks like, if when you walked in here and I shut that door and I locked it like on some creep shit, and I'm thinking I have the upper hand, and you're like, oh, I'm not locked in here with you.
Oh, I saw a movie like that. It
Like,
was
you're
beautiful.
locked in here with me. Watchmen. He said it in Watchmen. Such a great comic book movie. Um, ADHD. When did you get diagnosed?
Actually 5 years ago, late in life.
No, 5 years ago. You were 14 years old.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Early in life.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I was diagnosed I was diagnosed the first time 5 years ago, but officially when I moved to Atlanta, they made me take the test all over again.
Where'd you move from?
Miami.
Okay.
And so I would say my second diagnosis was a year ago. Yeah.
How do you feel?
I feel like duh, but also like about time. It was I don't feel any different.
Mm-hmm.
But also I do feel different because I have grown up very interesting. I was a very interesting child and it wasn't that easy to have friends because all I could say is interesting. I can't fully describe it. I'll figure it out, but interesting child, interesting adult. And I had to spend my entire like adulthood for sure, most of my adulthood before now masking. And then when I found out my diagnosis, it was so helpful because the mask is like just coming down now. And now
Mm-hmm.
it's like, if anything happens, I'm just like, hey, like this is me. This is who I am. Because I'm not a harmful person. I'm not an intentionally hurtful person. I'm just a odd person. And I no longer like to just sit there and shut up.
Hmm. I've always wondered people who because I was diagnosed with ADHD very young, a little bit older than you when I was diagnosed. I think I was 16 or 17, and I told you off camera. I remember just thinking, oh, this doctor doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Aleem, that was his name, Aleem. And I remember being like, this motherfucker don't know what he's talking about. Hyperactivity? I don't have that shit. And then what I think ended up happening was it just manifested itself in a different way. I do truly think he was wrong. I
Mm-hmm.
do believe it was a misdiagnosis, but it wasn't so egregious where he was just so far off base.
Yeah.
Do you find that your ADHD stops you from being who you feel like you could be? Or has it become, as cliche as it may sound, your superpower?
It's both. So I would like to actually turn this into a nice public service announcement. No, that ADHD I realized gets diagnosed a lot later in women,
Mm-hmm.
or in girls because it's not presented the same way as it would be in boys. And that's why there's ADHD and then there's ADD. Usually the girls would have ADD, so there's not as much hyperactivity.
Sure.
Which is why they get diagnosed later in life. So for me, my symptoms were not like hyperactivity or anything like that. It would be extreme procrastination. So it wasn't noticed in me because I aced school.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't noticed that like I wasn't paying attention in school. I had to go teach everything to myself when I got home. And I wouldn't get my homework done or my projects done until it was due 2 days from then. So for me, pressure helped me get things done.
Yes.
I would wait to the very, very,
Yeah, the
very
last
last
minute.
minute to get it
Yes.
done. If there's nothing making me feel like, oh my God, if I don't get, it's not going to get
Yep.
done.
And that's not good, by the way.
It's not good.
I did the same thing, and I would wait till the last minute, and it got to a point where I was doing it on purpose because I know
Because you know the pressure.
because I'm good at it.
Exactly.
I had to talk to my therapist about that and said, doesn't everybody want like the ball in the fourth quarter for the game-winning shot? Like, doesn't everybody want to be up at the bottom of the ninth? And she was like, Rashad, no. People cannot handle that.
It's stressful.
Like, but you perform well in that situation. And I'm like, yeah, that's why I forced that situation.
Yeah.
I think in those types of analogies, I can handle the loss and the win. I personally believe that I can shoulder things that other people can't.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, in school, when's the project due? Friday, Thursday night. I'm on it.
Exactly.
And then it comes out perfect because I have no other choice.
I do panic though, but I still bring myself to that point.
When do you panic?
At the last minute.
Like so you're having an anxiety attack
Yeah. That
while
I
you're doing
created.
it,
Yeah.
but you still succeed.
Yeah.
That is so unhealthy.
It really is.
That's terrible.
It really was. I'm
Okay.
doing better now.
Mm.
So another thing that occurs in ADD with women, not so much with men, is something called rejection sensitivity disorder.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if males have it. You can let me know, but I know some do. There's like this fear of judgment all the time, and any little thing makes you feel either judged or rejected. So you do everything you can to just like not feel rejection. So you will people please, or you will shut up in crowds. That used to get me in trouble all the time because me being quiet in crowds is me being stuck up. I'm like, golly, I can't do anything right, can I? And if I talk too much, because I talk a lot with ADD, then it's like, oh, you want to be the center of attention. So there comes a rejection sensitivity dysphoria where instead I just won't go anywhere. I just won't do anything. I didn't start making friends until I moved here. And again, got that diagnosis and was like, girl, just be yourself. But again, it takes a long time for it to be diagnosed in women. So when I did finally get the diagnosis, I guess I was able to turn it to my superpower because it's like, yeah, I'm sensitive. And yeah, things make me cry. And yeah, I feel things too much. But is it really too much, or is it the right amount for what I want to be? A Reiki practitioner, a healer.
Mm-hmm.
I need to feel, I need to have empathy for that kind of stuff. And then me being very hyper sometimes and happy and childlike, that also brings a lot of other people's childlike sides. And that makes people feel that they can be around me and not feel judged and they can be themselves. And now I'm meeting people who are older than me or whatever that act so very interesting with
Mm-hmm.
me than they would out in public because they know with me, they can't be judged because how am I going to judge them when I'm a hot mess sometimes?
Sure.
Hot mess in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I do also feel like it does stop me from being who I want to be because when you just listed all those things you do, my ADD is filled with overwhelm. If I wrote down a list of 10 things, I'd be like, whew, nap. Like, sometimes I won't cook because a normal person, a neurotypical person would say, all right, take out the spaghetti, make the spaghetti, eat. I'd be like, take out the spaghetti, boil the spaghetti, wash the pot, clean the kitchen. Then I got to do this. Then I got to do that. Then I got to strain it. Then I got DoorDash.
I was actually getting ready to say, as you were describing that, I was going to give you an exercise that I actually would do all the time. And it's literally what you just said.
What?
If the goal is, cook the spaghetti and maybe it's just, boil the water, put the spaghetti in, strain it, season it, eat. And you might see all those things and just be like, oh, that's just a bunch of shit. I want, instead of 5 things, I want 15. Because most of that 15, if I have it in a list, that 15, some of that stuff is just so basic and so easy. Sometimes my to-do list will be for such a short period of time. Like it'll be like, let's say if I have to go to work let's say if I have to leave at 10 o'clock in the morning to go to work, I'll know, let's say it's 9:15. I'll say, all right, I got 45 minutes to accomplish 20 things. And the thing is, the 20 things, some of them are just so mundane and easy. Like one of them might be, I don't know, open up a new bar of soap. I don't know, just picking something. And finding that one thing and knocking that off the list makes it kind of fudges the numbers a little bit and makes it look like I'm accomplishing a lot more. So I'm just marking through stuff and it's like, oh, okay, well, I'm getting through it. So now this list of, there really should be 5 things, is a list of 20 and I've done 15 things already.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, psychologically, I see that and I'm like, I only have 5 more things to do. So I will break down everything into the minutia and that helps me out a lot. Is there anything that you're doing? Are there any exercises that you have right now that you're utilizing every day to help you manage your ADHD?
Yes. The first is practicing to become a witch. Because again, if I can just do magic and take away other people's free will, since there's no such thing, I can get a lot done through other people.
Nice.
A real answer.
Oh, that was okay. Okay.
That's the let me get my impulsive thoughts out answer.
We like those.
Impulsive. It's important that people understand impulsive and intrusive thoughts are very different. What do I do? Yep, ADD. Can you repeat the question?
Okay, for the third time.
Yep.
What are you utilizing? What are you utilizing in terms of your day-to-day life to help you manage your ADHD to the point where it's productive for you? Or at least manageable.
I take naps. That just helps. If I write this list down and I get overwhelmed, I take that nap and I wake up and get it done. I write lists. It really helps me if I write the lists in pink and highlight them in different shades of pink. Things have to be pretty for me to be able to want to do them. So, it takes a while and it takes longer than it would take for me to complete the task, but it takes a while for me to create a beautiful, nice, colorful pink, all shades of pink list. And then I like to look at the list and check it off because it's pink. What else do I do? I have people hold me accountable by a lot of the things that I've been doing lately to like build what I'm trying to build right now is get people involved, because when you get people involved, you don't want to let them down. And so, yeah, I make a lot of appointments with people. I make a lot of co-working appointments with people to make sure I get stuff done, and I make pretty pink lists.
I wonder how many people we know, and I mean publicly, who have ADHD, who may not have been diagnosed, and are either suffering or have just like knocked it out of the park with it. Because I know there are people, and I have met people who use it as an excuse to really do some fucked up shit to people.
Yeah.
Or to just be a fuck up, like in general. Oh, I have ADHD. I couldn't imagine being in a relationship with somebody who just utilized any type of who would weaponize something that they have been diagnosed with. And I'm talking about cases where they can clearly manage it. They're just choosing not to. And then they're choosing it to make it everyone else's problem. There have been a number of times where I've seen people be like, hey man, I got, what did that motherfucker say to me? He's like, I got depression and anxiety. And I'm like, yeah. I said, brother, let me tell you something. This is a friend of mine. I was like, brother, let me tell you something. I said, I was diagnosed with depression the exact same time I was diagnosed with ADHD. So, okay. Same doctor. It was in the same session. I'm not going to tell you how depression is going to affect you because we're all different. I had a physical chemical imbalance in my brain. Some people just have I'm really sad and I'm really low, and that's perfectly fine. I don't knock that. Like I said, I don't compare successes. I don't compare failures. What I will say
Unless it's with children.
Of course.
Yeah.
The kids just fucking man up. I didn't get a participation trophy. Shut up. Finish your peas. But what I do think needs to happen is a level of mindfulness with the things that you're dealing with, and being able to say, like, hey, this is something that I need to get in front of, and I need to do the best that I can with this so that it doesn't become everyone else's problem. And I don't use it as a crutch for being just an all out fucked up person.
Yeah.
Or non-productive, or blaming the world. I find that I'm not one of those people that tells people don't be a victim. I don't do that.
Yeah.
Because there are real victims in this world. But this idea that the world owes you something, it doesn't. This idea that the world is targeting you, it's not. It's not the world is targeting you. The world doesn't care about you. You're nothing. I'm nothing.
Damn.
Like the world doesn't, it's not like we're going to get Kenisha today. The world doesn't give a fuck about you.
I don't believe that.
Like, of course you don't.
Because it took away my free will.
You're the main character.
Which is why I'm going to take away everyone else's.
I don't know if you ever heard that phrase, a hero and a villain are the same thing. Except something bad happened to the hero and they said, I don't want anyone else to go through this. and that same bad thing happened to the villain, and the villain says, I want everyone else to go through this.
I teeter between the two.
Do you?
Yeah.
You're okay. Cool.
Actually, do I? That's actually a lie. No, I really don't want anyone to go through it. But if I could just, again, use some magic to become a millionaire, I'm going to do it.
So is that really the crux of what we're talking about here? You want to become a witch so you can become a millionaire?
Yeah.
Did I expose
without work?
Well, if we could all do that, I'd be a witch. It'd be Agatha all along. Okay.
I know that's not how that works. I don't know where the cameras are. I forgot. I know that's not how that works to people that are actually real witches.
Think of so many places the cameras could be.
Don't come for me, please.
Like,
I know it's deeper than that, and I'm not making fun of it, and I'm not, what's the word? Like, invalidating it.
I feel like you talking about your journey with ADHD and then you getting older and, being able to, I don't want to say deal with it better, but I guess this is the best way of putting it. That's why I kind of opened it jokingly by saying, you don't live with ADHD. ADHD lives with you.
Yeah.
And it's funny, but it's also like it's a jab at your personality, how quirky you self-admittedly are, but it's also like, the cliche of oh, I don't have this, but I'm not gonna let it have me, or I have this, but I'm not gonna let it have me, or whatever. I think a lot of that has to do with anyone's healing journey and the importance of having a healing journey.
Yeah.
And I think in your community, I don't think this, I know that in your community, in that yogi, healing community, what have you, I know that that's a cliche thing that a lot of people talk about, their journey and their healing journey. And I'm healing and ashe and savasana and all that stuff. And I feel like openly, I think the disconnect that tends to happen from people who are not in that community to people who are is a lot of times, and we both know someone who does this, we speak a different language, but we get to the finish line at the same place.
Yes.
When you talk about manifesting, me as a relatively practical person, the idea of visualizing what you want and the idea of dedicating yourself to what you want and manifesting this is very real. Energy is real.
Very.
And it's not an opinion. Scientifically, energy is real.
Very. Yes.
So it's, you might use it in a way that other people hear and be like, energy, vibes, blah, 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 and they might be condescending. But the fact is, energy is real.
Yeah.
It's science. It's fact. We know this to be true. I feel like a lot of people don't understand how important a healing journey is. But I also feel like there are a lot of people who would never go on those journeys.
Yeah.
Because it requires you to be painfully authentic and real with yourself.
Yeah.
And it's not something that a lot of people can do. You clearly have gone through one, or I would assume maybe multiple healing journeys. When you went through yours, was there a place, were you ever scared?
Scared of, yes.
Of having to face,
you know what?
Your
yes.
shit. Yeah.
There were several things that I was scared of going on a healing journey, and I'm really grateful that you brought this up, actually. I was afraid to start the healing journey because the first thing I was afraid to do is lose who I was.
Okay.
Because my humor and my personality, I feel, was built on trauma.
Mm-hmm.
And it was built on how I was brought up and the things that I've experienced. And I thought, this is who I am now. If I heal, am I still going to be funny? Am I still going to be fun?
A lot of comedians feel that way.
Yeah. Am I still going to, because a lot of comedians, they be talking about their trauma on stage and everyone's like, ha, 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 ha.
The running joke is that
like,
comedians are fucked up.
Yeah. And I'm like, that's actually really deep. And everyone's laughing. So that was my first fear. My second fear was, am I going to be alone? Because I built all of my friends that I didn't really have around who I was. So am I going to lose these people? And then the third thing was, who am I after all of this? Like, how do I handle this new person that I'm supposed to end up being? Because if you can no longer lean on like your trauma or lean on being a victim, that feels like a weighted blanket. That stuff, you don't want to live in your trauma, but at the same time, if you were to take it off and have this freedom of like, you can be whoever you want to be and you can live without that anymore, it's like it doesn't feel good because it's like now that the world is vast, I'd rather be in this small room. So all of that was very scary.
A lot
Um,
of people look at religion that way.
yeah,
That's why they'll never leave their religion,
exactly. It's
because
comfortable.
there's no subset of rules. Wait, I can do whatever I want. No, this is uncomfortable.
Oh, I'm so mad you just said you could do whatever you want
It's like,
because I believe what you said. And now, yes, you're right. There's free will.
I could do whatever I want. Nah, this is uncomfortable. I'm going back to this. And to an extent, I don't disagree.
Yeah.
I understand the idea of I want some structure, and I want this subset of rules. I want someone to tell me what to do.
Yeah.
Was there ever a point in your healing journey where you had to say, I need to kill my ego?
Huh. Yes, there was. And then I realized, because, like, as you mentioned, we go through multiple healing journeys.
Mm-hmm.
It's exhausting. You think that once you got through one, it's over. And it's like, nope, there's another awakening, there's another journey.
Yeah.
I'm realizing there was a point where I felt like the ego had to die. Now I feel like it's not about ego death, it's about ego healing and integration.
Okay.
Because my head hurts right now, so I can't fully go into like, I can't get my memory too much, but you know how we have like the id, the ego, and the super ego.
Sure.
The id is all like instinctual. The id is like the baby, like they just wake up and they know they're hungry and they gotta pee, they gotta poop. It's just instinctual.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have ego. Ego is actually super helpful to us if we don't let it control us, right? Everyone just thinks of ego as a bad thing, but ego is all about what actually gets us to want the things that we want and do the things that we do. So it's all about healing the ego and not working out of um an I don't know the word. You'll have to cut it when I find it. But out of a bruised ego,
Mm-hmm.
right? Out of that ego that needs to be constantly validated, the ego that has to constantly be right, has to constantly be seen, has to do this, has to do that. We need to heal that and integrate it because ego is very helpful. It doesn't need to die. It just needs to heal. And I used to think it had to die. I used to think you had to kill the old version of you, the old ego, everything. And it's not about that. The more you try to kill something that's actually you, the harder the journey is going to be.
That's interesting. I've never been a proponent for killing the ego. I think I was never like that because I'm just going to speak just from my perspective. As a man, I've always been taught, or society has taught me, and I'm just going to be honest here. Society has taught me that, or taught me this, and it's true. Ego is what will allow a lot of us to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
You need to know, one, when to check it,
Exactly.
two, when it doesn't have a place, and three, when it's unhealthy. These are very, very important things. I speaking for myself, I stopped leading with ego a very long time ago, and my life is exponentially better because of it. I don't make decisions rooted in my own ego. I don't make things about me.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I don't like this, so no one can have it. A lot of people vote that way. It's very, very silly.
Yeah.
There are a lot of times where I will, if there was a guy who was running for president and said, I'm only going to care about black people, I'm be like, yeah, I'm not voting for you. Because there are people I love that aren't black.
Yeah.
If I knew this guy was, I only care about men, I'd be like, well, I'm not voting for you. Because there are people that I love that
Are not men.
Right. But then you have people who are just like, well, I'm a man, so that coincides with what I want. And I don't knock that. If you're a one issue voter, that's perfectly fine. Um, I've seen, like, with me on my trying to be introspective and trying to look at myself as, okay, how can I be a better person? Where do I need accountability? Where do I need to improve? And where am I perfectly fine right where I'm at? And sometimes that is very difficult. I got older and I stopped giving passes to people. People know what the fuck they're doing. You know what you're doing. Now, there are those small instances where people are like, you can have a teachable moment. But once I give you that one moment and you still continue the behavior, it's like, oh, you know what you're doing. Like,
Yeah.
this is not, you're not dumb. You know what you're doing. I think the idea of ego with men or with me, the idea of ego with me has helped me so much because I'm going to be very frank with you right now. I'm a man. The world does not care about my feelings.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't. It just doesn't. And I'm not going to fool myself into thinking that the world is going to care. This idea that sometimes our partners will say, be vulnerable with me. Absolutely not.
Why?
Absolutely not. And I'm going to tell you why. I'll tell you exactly why. Your partner will say, be vulnerable with me. A woman will say, be vulnerable with me. And I don't think a lot of times women understand what they're asking,
Mm-hmm.
because I don't think they understand what they're truly asking for and how it will affect them. For example, let's say you and I were in a relationship and you're just like, Rashad, be vulnerable with me. I wish you would be vulnerable with me. And let me tell you what would happen. Let's say I was going through something with family and I had a fight with my mom and that was bothering me.
Yeah.
And okay, you know what, Kenisha, here's what's going on. I had a fight with my mom and it's just really bad. And blah, blah. You're like, oh, sweetie, I can be there for you. How can I support you emotionally? This, that, and the other, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's good. You want that. Next scenario. Sweetie, you've been going through a lot lately and you won't share. Be vulnerable with me. Okay, Kenisha, I lost my job and we have the mortgage due and we have bills to pay. I don't know what I'm going to do. I have no prospects right now and I'm just lost and I have no direction. And let me tell you something. You could sit across from me and tell me that you're different, and that's perfectly fine. You can say whatever words you want to say to me. That vagina going to dry up just a little bit because your man is telling you, I don't know how to take care of you right now. And there is a part of you that would be like, do I need to stay here? Even if you stay, there's a part of you that will be like, is this going to be a problem in the future? Even if you don't think it's a problem now, because you are not wired to take care of me financially,
Mm-hmm.
not for perpetuity. You are not wired that way. You might do it temporarily. And I hate using those alpha male podcast talking points. I hate it. But there's a hint of truth there. You might do it temporarily, but eventually you're going to be like, oh, okay, when you going to take, what's up? This was not what we agreed on. The idea of vulnerability, the idea of you hearing a man telling you, I don't know how I'm going to take care of us anymore, is not the thank you for being vulnerable with me moment that you think you're asking for. I've been in that space before with a woman. I wasn't even dating her. We were just talking. And I was about to get evicted. So this is 2010. I was about to get evicted. And I told her, she was like, hey, so what's been going on? I told her, vulnerable. So I'm going to be transparent. You know, we hung out that night. I never saw her again. She never texted me again. She never called me again.
Okay. So I think those moments are important because there's different types of vulnerability. There's the fight with the mom, and then there's I don't know what I'm going to do financially. I don't know if I can take care of you. I'm laughing because of what I just did prior to this.
Mm-hmm.
And those moments are important because they want vulnerability. And in both of those moments, you now get to see if that person is for you. Because yes, you just said that I can sit up here and say I'm different. And I can tell you right now that I'm different. But you're right. I don't know how I'm going to act if that was a real scenario with me.
Right.
But that scenario is now important for both of us because you now are able to figure out if that woman can handle the full 100% you. Because in that moment, that person isn't leaving you because you were vulnerable. They're leaving you because they're like, oh shit, my meal ticket's gone. Right?
That's a very, I like how direct that way is that you just put it. But this is where the disconnect is. At that point, you were asking for vulnerability, and when you got it, you used it against me. I'm glad you didn't kill your ego. That's great. Are you still in your healing journey?
Yes, because healing journeys are continuous, just like life,
Such
till it ends.
That's a nice, sweet way of putting that.
I think healing ends when you're
dead.
dead.
It's just like you stop learning when you're dead. I
Yeah.
do agree. I'm mocking you, but I do agree with you. How important do you think it is for a man to go on a healing journey?
Oh man.
This is very, very loaded, and it's done that way on purpose.
Whew. I think that is very extremely important because there are a lot of men out here who believe that the world doesn't care about them or their feelings,
It doesn't.
or that we don't care that if they're vulnerable, and that they have to have this hard shell up at all times. And that's a societal thing that's put on them. I especially think
I don't think those are related.
I do. I feel like society is I mean,
Having a hard shell up at all times doesn't mean that I don't want to be vulnerable. That doesn't mean, I guess what I'm saying is I'm not vulnerable by choice with certain things, but that's not me having a hard shell up.
okay. I do think they're separate, but I do feel like a lot of men feel like they have to have a hard shell regardless, not just with partners, but just in general. Like,
I agree.
I got this. And you don't always have to have it. You know, you don't always have to have it together. You don't. And I especially think it's important for Black men and Caribbean men. There's so much that like needs to be unlearned because, I mean, I can't speak for them because I don't know everything that they've been taught. But since I was the only girl in my family, I only had brothers. I did notice how we were raised differently, and I could cry and I could do whatever the hell I wanted, right? As far as emotionally, and they had to suck it up, right? But they also didn't have to clean their room or cook, and I did. So now they're up here, messy, and
They didn't have to clean their room?
she cleaned it for them.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Yeah, and they don't know how to cook, and they have messy places, right? Um, And so even just having to unlearn like what they were taught about gender norms and what they were taught about their emotions and what they were taught about what it truly means to be strong, I think there's tons of strength in vulnerability.
I agree.
Yeah. So I think it's very important for men to heal as well.
Here's the thing. I don't think that being vulnerable has to coincide with being hurt and needing to go on a healing journey.
You don't have to be hurt to go on a healing journey.
When you say a healing journey, what exactly are you saying? Like how does going on a healing journey, like I have openly said that I don't believe society cares about my feelings, and I have multiple things to back that up. And I'm also a person that doesn't have a problem with that because in a lot of cases, it's like, get over it.
Yeah.
Like the world can't stop because you are going through some stuff. And I'm talking about men.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about women. I'm talking about men. I want you to explain to me why you feel like that has to be rewritten or that has to be unlearned and what that has to do with this idea of going on a healing journey.
That's a good question. So I am not by any means saying that every single man on this planet needs to unlearn some things. And I'm not saying that every single person needs to go on a healing journey. I just think it's just absolutely beneficial for those who can benefit from it. Let's see. How can I answer this? I just got like this random headache. Hold on. Give me a second.
I know I'm annoying. I get it.
Yeah, just a tad.
Yeah.
And then you got me all confused. You have to cut all that. Cause what do I mean by the healing journey? I don't know. What did you mean by when you asked about if a man should be on a healing journey? What did you mean?
Well,
Ask me what I mean.
I was curious if you were going to
Sorry,
frame it.
spit.
I didn't even feel it. I didn't see it.
Thank goodness.
I was curious if you were going to frame it in a selfish way.
Selfish. Like
As
heal
in-
for relationships and to
Yes.
be a better man for me.
Yeah, y'all need to heal because motherfuckers out here doing XYZ and I'm over here trying to talk to you and you acting like this and you thinking this is okay, which is, by the way, very valid.
Very.
Yeah, I'm not saying that that's not valid. But like, I think the idea of a healing journey has a connotation oh, you're hurt and you need to heal. And what I am saying simply is that there is a reason through learned, lived experiences where I truly believe that the world does not care about my feelings the way they say that they do. This whole idea nowadays of, just want men to be more open and be more vulnerable. No. You know who I'm vulnerable with? My therapist. Because that's who I pay to do that. That's who I do that with.
Yeah.
That's I don't go to my lady and say, hey, I've got this rash right here. Can you prescribe something for me? No, I go to a fucking doctor. Like that's a professional that I pay to do that. So I think sometimes vulnerability comes with a little selfishness. When your partner says, be vulnerable with me. No, the problem that I have, you can't fix.
Yeah.
And the problem I have, I wouldn't ask you to fix. You just want to know what's going on and be kept in the loop.
Mm-hmm.
And I have dated women who all I had to do, and I think she was the same type of person. So that's why it worked. She was an aspiring attorney. She's an attorney now, where when I said, I got it, she was like, cool. And it was nothing else was ever said about it. She moved the fuck on. It was not this, no, you have to let me in. It was none of that.
You know what, though? I really think that that's more about trust. And here's what I mean by that. Remember, we were talking about a hypothetical situation where, say, you were dating someone and you're taking them on a trip and you won't let them know where you're going, what you're doing, whatever. You just, until you guys pull up to the terminal.
Sure.
And when you mentioned that, you said it feels good to know that they trusted you in that moment to do that.
Sure.
So I feel like in that moment where your partner is asking you to be vulnerable, it's not about they just want to be in the loop, but they want to know that you trust them enough that you don't feel like you have to hold it in or only tell it to a therapist or only tell it on Call of Duty as a joke.
Here's the difference. I would rather you be very direct about wanting to know how I feel about the trust part, not asking me a different question to see if I trust you.
So like saying, do you feel like you can trust being vulnerable with me? Like asking that question
Yeah.
instead of, can you please be vulnerable with
Right.
me?
If you were to say to me very directly, listen, I know this is your business. Do you trust me on a level where you feel like you can be vulnerable with me? And
That's a good question.
I would say, absolutely. But this is a thing that I'm not comfortable being vulnerable with you on. Because one, I know you and I don't want to burden you. And two, it's not something you can help me with. Just trust me that I know my own process to get through it and get past it. And a lot of times, there are a lot of variables right there that have to work.
Yeah.
You have to have two people that, one, know who they both are emotionally. Two, there has to be a level of trust there. And three, they both have to not spaz in that moment and be able to not make it about themselves and be perfectly fine and not bring it up later and be perfectly fine with the resolution right there.
Yeah.
There have been a number of times I'll tell women, we don't have to communicate the same way, but just know how you communicate. If you know that you're a passive aggressive person, first of all, I don't even think we would date in the first place. But if you know you're the type of person that will communicate things, you need a few days to gather your thoughts. I'm a very right away, solution oriented. All right, what are we talking about? Let's flesh it out right now.
Yeah.
But if you're not that way, and you know you're not that way, I accept that.
Yeah.
You need to take a couple days. Take a couple days. We'll circle back. It's very HR corporate speak. We'll circle back and we'll be fine. Speaking of HR corporate speak, didn't you like leave the rat race? I don't even have that on this rundown.
You don't have it. I was kicked out of the rat race. I was pushed out of the rat race.
You got fired?
I got laid off.
Okay, well that's not. You got severance?
I did get a little bit of a severance.
How long were you at that company?
2 years.
Okay.
Yeah. They tossed me aside. They said, bye, bitch.
Oh, that's what they said.
They might as well have.
Was that in the HR email?
It should have been.
You remember when Jordan retired and he came back and, well, you weren't born yet, but when Jordan retired and he came back and they were like, we need a quote for the press conference to say that you're unretiring. And all he said was, I'm back. So I want to ask you, did HR send you an email and they just said, bye, bitch?
That's what it felt like. What really happened was my boss, it was January 2nd, returned from holiday.
I thought you were about to say January 6th. I was like, whoa, what the fuck?
Returned from holiday. Why? What's the 6th for you?
January 6th for me? It's different. It's a date for the country.
Oh.
It's when an insurrection happened.
Oh, January 2nd. Got back to work and he was like, yeah, let's all do one-on-ones. I was like, okay. I get on the one-on-one. He wasn't there. Some black guy was there. And I was like, who's this black dude? And
it's our quota.
There it was.
It's our quota hire.
There it was. He said,
he's our DEI inclusion.
He was like, so to let you know. And man, and they took me off my email. They took me off everything immediately. I'm like, well, can I at least open my email after this call? No. I'm like, Y'all would treat me like a criminal. Yes, I left the rat race.
Did you ever see, this meme of, I don't know if you watch football like this. You ever see the meme of that guy who's a football player? You might not know he's a football player, but he's walking up to his facility, got the key card, and he's trying to scan it and won't let him in. And he was like, "Oh, did they kick me out?" Is that what happened to you?
Basically.
Okay. So you
Except
were,
I worked remotely.
okay. So you got laid off from the rat race, and then what did you decide to do?
I decided to be dramatic. Of
Naturally,
course. Yeah,
naturally, as one does.
I was only dramatic for about 5 minutes because honestly, I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming the day it was happening. But anyways, I decided to go to Mexico for about a month and a half.
Nice.
I thought this layoff was only going to last me a little bit. So I was like, let me splurge. Went to Mexico, flew first class everywhere, stayed in high rises and stayed in condos and came back and realized, oh, it's longer than I expected. And, I started looking for more jobs, but that's when I realized, and that's where I kind of said, free will isn't real. Trying to go back into corporate, and it like everything I tried to do was just falling out of place. But now when I'm living in the purpose that I feel like I'm supposed to live in, everything is falling into place.
Tell me about this Muna Collective project.
Muna Collective. Yeah, so that's what I am working on right now. So I want to start with Muna is a name that my dad gave me when I was younger. It was Muna Man. I don't know why there was a man at the end of it. Don't know if I mooned them as a child. Maybe I mooned a man. And it used to be a song that he would sing to me to fall asleep, and I would like rock myself to sleep to the song. And I don't know, it just stuck with me. And so Muna Collective is, and I want it to be, the tagline is align with your tribe and expand your universe. For the Muna Collective, I really want it to be like a community. I want to turn it to almost like, someone jokingly said it was like Angie's List, but not really. I want it to be like this community for people who are like me or who were like me, who kind of never felt comfortable being their authentic self, never felt like they fit in anywhere, never felt like there was a community for them. I want to create community for people like me that are neurodivergent, or just anyone out there that, again, is maybe socially anxious, anything like that. Anyone who is interested on starting their healing journey, or just don't know where to begin, or they just don't know where to get support from. I want to do this through creating events, through teaching yoga as I've done, leading hikes, doing the Reiki that I've been doing like on the Beltline, or doing one-on-one type things. But my main goal is to create community. I really want to gather a lot of other people who are healers, therapists, yogis, sound healers, to just create this community, because maybe someone doesn't resonate with me.
Sure.
But I still want them to be able to find someone else that they resonate with.
Absolutely.
So that's what that is. I hope that made sense.
It made perfect sense. And I think I'm too out of the loop as far as that community to really grasp the concept of what you said. I'm sure it made sense. It made more sense to someone else, but I do get the idea of what you're saying.
It's like you have all these pop. What are these called? They're just called pops.
Sure, we'll go with that.
Okay, you have these pop dolls. I know they're not dolls, right?
They're not called pop dolls.
And so, what are they? Just tell me.
Funko Pops.
Funko Pops? You have these Funko Pops, right? What if you were the only one right now who had these Funko Pops, right? And you're like, it would be nice to have a community of other people who understood me and had Funko Pops as well. Or say someone didn't know where to begin, and now there's this whole community of Funko Pop collectors.
You're trying to find your people.
Yes. Align with your tribe, expand your universe. So I don't even think anyone has to be in that whole healing moon astrology type to understand. Like, it's just a community.
I love hearing people describe like that community, like in their own way. Like when I said Savasana, Ashe, all that.
That cracks me up.
Yeah, like, because there's so many just different ways of describing it. And I know that my tone comes off as really condescending. So it's funny when people just like, we're a little bit more than that. I'm like, I know. I'm not being serious.
Yeah, sarcasm. I understand it. My humor is pretty dark. And I thought I was going to lose that healing, and it's still here.
Well, I'm proud of you.
Me too.
Because you, I think pain, I don't want to say pain made me funny. Pain made me aware
of how funny you are.
Well, I'm hilarious, but like pain made me very aware of, it made me very sensitive. I'm like a nerve that's just exposed
Yeah.
all the time. So it made me understand, and the older I got and the more confidence I got in myself, I understood my boundaries, and I understood it's okay to have boundaries. And I understood it's okay to not put up with somebody. It's okay to believe people are lying to you. And it's okay to tell them, I think you're lying.
Yeah.
Instead of, I think they're lying, but I'm not going to say anything. No, you're lying to me.
Yeah.
And I could be wrong, but I believe that you're lying to me. It's okay
Are
to
you
believe.
saying I'm lying about Moona Collective? Because you're giving me a really deep eye.
I'm saying you're lying about wanting to be a witch.
About wanting to be a witch or about joking about wanting to be a witch? Which one's the lie?
I said what I said.
I'm lost.
I said it very directly. I think you're lying about wanting to be a witch. Anyway, okay, Kenisha.
Well, when you're in a jar, just understand I warned you.
I'm cool with that. Kenisha.
Yes.
I end every single podcast with 5 questions.
Okay.
You don't know what I'm going to ask, or maybe you do.
I don't.
Because that means you have not watched Corey's episode. You have not watched Shauna's episode.
I don't watch full episodes of a lot of things.
Yeah, I don't want to hear your justification.
I have ADHD.
Excuses.
That's not me.
Excuses. Poor ones at that. I'm going to ask you these 5 questions, and I want you to answer them as succinctly as you possibly can. If you need time to think about it, take the time.
I wish I watched all the episodes then so I could have cheated.
You could have been prepared. Exactly.
Let's go.
We love homework. All right, here's the first question. Who gave you the best advice that you've ever received?
I actually was warned about this question.
There you go.
And I should have. Dang it. Who gave me the best advice I ever received? Next question.
No, we're not skipping.
You can bring it back?
Nope.
Who gave me the best advice I've ever received? Ugh. There's so many people. So I'm just going to go to what has helped me right now recently. It would be my intuitive coach. And she told me that I do not need help. Because I stopped doing a lot of things because I feel like I can't do them alone. So what stops me from doing is I'm like, I can't do this alone. I need help. I got to get help from this person and that person and this person. She's like, you don't need help. You can do it alone. And ever since then, I've stopped making excuses and I've been doing what I need to do alone. And then if anyone wants to help, they come in and they help. But I'm not stopping myself just because I don't have the help I think I need.
There's an analogy that I've spoken on before. Chris Rock talks about before he had money. And he said that his car would break down on the side of the freeway. And when it would break down, he would just he would get out of it, stand at the trunk, just wait for people to come help him. And what he learned is that when he got out and he started pushing, that's when everyone else would stop and come help him and start pushing too. So people are only going to help you if they see you trying to help yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you know well enough that you can teach an advanced class on it? This is a layup.
What do I know well enough? I have a couple answers for that. Being dramatic. Okay. I can teach a whole class on that. I can teach anyone to be dramatic and to just make a scene. That's for sure.
Nice. Okay, what else?
You know, I don't know because I'm one of those people who knows a lot about everything, but not enough about everything because having those multiple hobbies type thing.
Well, I said this is a layup because I thought you were a Reiki master.
I am, but so Reiki master means that I've received my master's certification, but that doesn't mean that I'm like an absolute pro. But now I can safely teach people how to do Reiki. I can certify people, but I wouldn't call myself like the name Reiki master actually right now feels weird for me because I just received that final certification, which means, yes, I have earned the title, but it's still not something that I feel like I'm a student in life regardless. And it's still something I'm learning and I can teach. Am I ready? That
But
was a good one.
but you do know it well enough
To
where you
teach. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Where do you feel the most confident?
Do you just like how I just made that question a very long answer? Your face was like, okay, let's get it together.
No, it's your answer.
Reel it in. Reel it in.
Your answer is your answer. Where do you feel the most confident?
Where do I feel the most confident?
Mm-hmm.
In teaching.
But apparently not teaching well
Reiki.
enough
Not
to
teaching
teach an
Reiki yet.
advanced class on it. Okay.
But when I was talking to someone that we both know, about how I can be very socially anxious and I can be very nervous about things, but once I sit down and it's time for me to actually talk to people and teach them things that I know that I think can benefit them, it's almost like, Beyonce and Sasha Fierce. It's almost like that other part of me comes out, and I'm very confident in being able to teach and talk. I am ruled by the throat.
I am shocked it took this long to get a Beyonce reference out of this podcast.
I'm not a beehiver. Don't come
say
for
that.
me.
Yeah, don't say that.
Come for
what the
me.
hell's wrong with you? Yo, what the okay, let me back on out. All right. When you die, what do you want to be remembered for the most?
Nothing, because I'm gone now. But I guess it would be joy, because people have told me that I bring a lot of joy to them. So I hope they just remember me for whatever joy they perceive to see from me or perceive to feel from me. But also just I'm gone, go away.
I mean, when I go, I'd like to be remembered for something.
I might.
This is actually kind of sad. I remember somebody, this is fucking dark. Somebody said, a time is going to come where someone's going to say your name for the last time.
Oh.
That shit was scary. They said, a time is going to come where someone's going to think about you for the last time.
Yeah.
Someone's going to say your name for the last time. And you might die, and then maybe you got kids. Maybe you got kids. At some point, I don't know my great-grandfather's name. I know my grandfather's name. And let me tell you, my nephews, they don't say my grandfather's name. They don't know him. They met him. They were babies. They don't know him. So, eventually at some point, the point of me bringing that up is, yeah, there's going to be a point where someone says my name for the last time, but I always want whatever I leave behind to be able to extend that. Because there are some guys who died 400, 500 years ago that we still talk about them. We say their names and what they do. That's legacy. That, your children, stuff like that, all that good stuff. Last question.
Wait, that wasn't 5? Yo, I can't count.
Well, it's 4 so far.
Oh, wow.
Why are you
I'm
here?
not confident in my counting.
That's good. That's where you're least confident.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Why are you here?
On this planet? Well, when two people fall in love, it usually doesn't have to be...
They don't have to fall in love.
Exactly. I was going to say, it doesn't have to be love. But is that what you meant?
Nope.
Okay. Why am I here today for the podcast?
Or in general, answer it how you want. Why are you here on this earth? What's your purpose here? Why are you here at this podcast? Just answer how you want.
I'm here in this podcast to get over a fear of being heard and seen. My fear of being heard and seen is because I don't like to be perceived. And that's because I don't like to be judged. And coming here lays that out all on the table.
I agree.
And I got to start somewhere, because if I want to be this Reiki master, if I want to hold courses, if I want to help people, I have to allow myself to be seen and perceived. So thank you for this opportunity.
You're very welcome.
Because I wouldn't go looking for it. That's for sure. I get scared.
No, you would not go looking for it, but I'm glad that you found me, and I'm glad that I found you, Kenisha. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Yeah, you've given me so much. I appreciate you stepping outside of your comfort zone. Good luck with the Muna Collective project. Find your tribe and keep going.
Going Mach.